Phil from 3DP UK here, and today my channel is bringing you an unboxing and build of the Bambu Lab X1 series. This has been long awaiting for this channel. Loads of unboxings, check them out. If you haven't already seen my channel before, like and subscribe. Always trying to bring new content, and over the next few weeks, once I've built this, I'm going to be bringing you my thoughts on the actual printer itself, any improvements that you could probably have with the slicer. But there's loads of videos out there, but 3DP UK is bringing you live straight to this place. So check out the rest of the video. So everyone will know that the box comes really sturdy. The most important thing to always remember is to make sure that when your delivery arrives, just to check that the box is in good condition. There's no damages, a visual damage to the box. That's normally an early indicator as to how bad it's going to be when you unbox it. You are able to reject it if you find that it's not secure, or if anything's open, if the actual box is damaged. So always make sure that you do that, and that will save a lot of hassle in the long run having to return it. But tell you what we're going to do now is we're going to unbox it and take it to the next level. So just gently open this up. So quite a lot of people have put reviews out on this now, and it's not uncommon that there's loads of those out there, but it's the first for my channel. I haven't been sent this to review. I purchased this myself. Like I say, if you haven't seen my channel before, definitely sign up to it, and I'm always bringing up new content and live draws and stuff like that. So the first thing everybody will see when they open the box is that you will find that the actual box itself is basically sealed at the top. You'll see in the lids on either side it's sellotaped. You get like a styrofoam at the top that keeps it all secure, which is great. So in the box, like I say, sealed on both sides. That's actually to help you take it out from the actual packaging. You'll notice that you've got these two styrofoams. Take them out, you don't need those. Just put them out of the way, and like I say, all you need to do is remove it from the side of the cardboard on both sides. Very well packaged. I do like the way they package their products. The thing is with this X1 Carbon, it's a glass door and glass lid, and then obviously the actual chassis itself can be damaged in transit, so it's really important that they package it up really well. Like I say, when you take it out of the box, always do a full inspection. I do these live unboxings, and a lot of the time when I've opened it up for the first time, it's my way of proving if there was any damage that I can show the company my videos. You get loads of protection around the edges, which is great. Always comes in handy if you have to send anything back, not just the printer itself, but any products that you might have bought. Always keep them. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to lift this out, but because of my clearance, I'm going to put it on the floor, and then I'm going to show you the contents of the box. So let me just drop this down, like so. Quite a hefty weight to this printer, so just take care when you lift it out for the first time. And one thing to note, let's spin this round, like so. One thing to note, always double check what's left in the box. And in the box you will receive some support filament, which is great. And what have we got? some PACF, I believe that's carbon fibre. Each of those small so far, so the support was 250 grams and this carbon fibre was 250 grams. It's always good to receive it. I think they should have really probably given you 500 of each, certainly on some of these. On the PLA Basic, 250 grams as well. Quite like the fact that they give you a gauge as what you've got left. One thing to note with the speed of this machine, this isn't really going to last that long. But you know, I've got plenty of filament, so it's not a problem. It's a big improvement from some of the printers that you receive very little. Always double check what's left in your box. Always make sure that what you have is completely removed. You don't want to chuck anything out. Let's put this out of the way. Okay, so as you will see, that's the front of the printer, and let's drop this down a bit for you guys to see a bit better. Okay, so what you have is securely packaged, which is great. I do like that. Yes. I don't really like ripping bags because if I have to send it back, it's quite nice to kind of put it back to its original state, but you know, it's exciting for people that have spent a considerable amount of money. Okay, so what we have on top is a Bambu Lab X1 Combo 3D printer quick start guide. So just take that off. You've got a couple of tabs, carefully remove those. Try not to rip there, which is probably not going to be that easy. And then on the other side, and then you've got the quick start. I'm not sure why they needed to sellotape with that. They could have just put that in, to be fair. So yeah, it kind of gives you an idea of what's in there and what accessories you receive. I quite like that guide, it's quite cool. Okay, so what we're going to do is, so as I said, glass top, glass door, love the aesthetics of it. This silver kind of gives you the vibe of an iPhone or an iPad, which is always quite sleek. The colouring is just, it kind of matches the name of it as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove some of this plastic, carefully remove it, like so. Everything just peels off, and let's try and do that carefully. That's it. Like I say, very well packaged, and everybody loves that little rip sound. Tear off the other side, and I know they say to remove this, so we're going to remove this glass and put it to the side. Take great care, this is glass, you don't want to drop that. So let's put this out of the way for the time being. Okay, so what you have inside is some more styrofoam, so take all that out. Obviously don't force anything, take your time with it. Yes. Well, like I say, well packaged, sometimes a little too well packaged. So in here is your accessory box. We'll go into the details as to what's in that in a second. What else? Okay, I think what we're going to do now is just refer to the guide. So what we have with the guide is, let's go through that now. Okay, so like I say, wasn't able to not rip that instruction guide, but I'm not too fussed about that. It's quite small, which suggests it's going to be relatively easy to actually do, which is always good. So it just gives you an introduction on what everything means, what accessories you have. So basically there'll be a touch screen, a spool holder, 3 times 250 grams of filament, a spare hot end, which is always great, nozzle wiping pads ×2, a power cord for your country, a spare filament cutter ×2, the Bambu BUS cable 6-pin, a couple of Allen keys, an unclogging tool for the nozzle, and a couple of spare sheets for the cool plate, a flexible build plate, a Bambu BUS cable 4-pin, a bamboo scraper, and a glue stick. So the glue stick is quite important for the first time that you use this. Seen a lot of unboxings already, and that's to make sure that your build plate has been coated. This obviously sticks very well. Okay, so to unlock the AMS, this is what you do. But what we're going to do now is we're going to show what's in the accessories box. Let's go over to that. Just move this over for 1 second. Okay, so this is the accessories box here. And let's open it up. Okay, first out of the box is a power cable for the UK, so a 3-pin power cable. Let's take this off before I forget. So it always comes with protection. And while we're here, we'll take off the cable wrap and set that aside over here. So next out of the box is, it's looking like it's the glue stick. Quite like the packaging that it comes in to protect it. So the Bambu Lab's own glue stick for the build plate. So we'll set that aside. And what else do we have in here? Always double check not to throw it away, because there are some things left in there. Double check everything. So spool holder in there with a couple of screws to connect that up if you want to run single. Put that aside. What else have we got here? We have the disclaimer and safety guides. Always read them, they are important. Let's slide this out. What else? A couple of 3M stickers, adhesive stickers, so they're quite important for something. We'll double check what that's going to be for later. If you can't get everything out from one side, there is a divider in there, so don't try and force it. Just open it up on the other end and you have access to the other end. So what have we got now? So in here is like a little mini Christmas present. Let's have a look. Oh, okay, so that's the 2 cables for the AMS unit that's going to fit into the back of the Bambu itself. So they're important. Like I said, there's a 4-pin and a 6-pin, so you won't be able to get mixed up with the AMS unit, which I like that. What else? We've got an Allen key here. And like I say, very well packaged. I do like this. They've definitely taken the time to make sure that what we receive is undamaged. It says hot end. Not sure whether that's the right bag, or that's, I guess, parts for the hot end. And then you've got some thermal grease, which obviously you'll need to use for those 2 items. Let's put them aside. Right, okay, so we have the screen here. Let's take that. I know, seeing all the other videos, there's quite a lot of videos about the green tabs being left, so they kind of highlight where things need to be removed. That's the screen for the Bambu Lab. What I'm going to do, I've seen quite a few people just rest it down on the screen. I'm not really that type of person. I like everything unscratched, so let's put that down carefully. Seems like there's one more bag in here. Let's get that out. What we're going to do though, once it's all laid out, is double check the instructions list and make sure that what the contents is there is what we've got. Always do that before you start. So in here we have the scraper tool, put that aside, the extruder parts, and filament cleaner, I guess, nozzle cleaner, and then some lubricant grease. So like I say, what you want to do is get your instructions manual and just verify everything. So we have a touchscreen, we've seen a spool holder, we've got the 250 grams of filament, we've got the spare hot end, the nozzle wiping pads, the power cord, the cutters, the 2 sets of cables, the Allen key. I've only got one Allen key at the moment, unless okay. So with your Allen keys, they are sellotape to the side, so make sure you ensure that all of that is taken out. Probably better to actually take the whole thing out. And okay, so yeah, what you want to do is just check all of the contents versus this instruction manual. So double check that everything is there. So the next step here is to take out the AMS unlock. So what you want to do is remove the screws as pictured. So at the front of the manual, it shows you to remove 2 screws from the front. So what we want to do actually is just remove the rest of the packaging to be able to allow us to do that. Just set aside some of this to make sure that we don't damage anything. Okay, let's lift up this nice and carefully. You don't want to damage it now. It should be relatively easy to slide out. There we go. I found that it's got rubber feet on it, which is great. I do like that. Okay, so the front of the machine also has some sticky tape on it, so everyone likes to have a good feel. Take it off nice and carefully, and it just comes off like that. Okay, so let's get in a bit closer. Okay, so what you have here is the front of the Carbon. Very woefully unprepared for this video. The excitement of unboxing my Carbon is just too great. Okay, so lovely little latch on the door, opens up. Doesn't just swing open, it's on like a delay, which is great. I do like that because obviously being glass, it wouldn't take much to slam it into the wrong place. So as you will see, there's a couple of red arrows. That's what we're removing right now. So grab your Allen key and remove the unit. Simply just unlock that. So this bracket holds the AMS in place. You don't need these screws, but I always keep them just in case. Always good to have spare screws that will come in handy for something else at some point. This holds the AMS in place just while it's in transit. You don't want it damaging, knocking about into things, causing a mischief. Okay, so the next thing is, once you've removed those 2 screws, take out the AMS unit and set it aside. The accessory box is also in there, but we've already removed that. May have taken it out too quickly, but hey, I don't think it matters too much. It's probably best to shut this up. So I should just pull out. Slide that out, and that's the AMS system. Really, really intelligent, cool piece of kit that is. Absolutely loving that. So we don't need this at the moment, we're just going to set it aside and we'll get back to that in a second. Okay, so next step. So it says to remove the 4 screws as the arrows indicate. I'm guessing they're talking about inside now. Yes, they are. So in here, so what you have is 4 screws around the edges, and that's what we're going to remove right now. Just get rid of that. So 4 screws. Okay. So we've already removed the 1 at the front, we know that. I'm trying to find out where they are actually. Okay, so it's at the bottom. So you just undo them. Nice and easy. And then one at the back. Could always look from the top, that might actually be easier. So yeah, I can see that now. It's a lot easier to work with. You'll hear it drop anyway, and it stays in there until you're required to take it out. And then you've got 1, 2 on the other side. Nice and fiddly. Like I say, you can't cut back on how it's delivered. Needs to be securely fastened. I would rather have to spend 5-10 minutes now unboxing something because it's overly secure than to receive an item that's severely damaged in transit. No one would want that. Where's the last one? Okay, so it's down there. Boom. Need to be contortionist to get into here. Got it. There we go. Persevere. Like I say, the aesthetics of this machine is really, that's what really drew me to this. I do like the overall look of it. I think it's an amazing looking printer. So more screws to remove. It should just lift out now, and carefully lifting it out. You won't need this again. It's not used for anything else other than for transport. So if you want to use it for something, you probably find some use for it, I guess, but otherwise it's going to be disposed of. You've got some desiccant in there just to keep it dry, which is always good. Okay, and now we've removed that, we found the build plates, the spare build plates. Love the fact that they put this in there. Quite often when you're doing 3D printing, you damage your build plate and then you spend a few weeks trying to wait for a new one to turn up, which isn't always ideal. Okay, so next step, take out the AMS cushion, which we did. Go on to page hotbed unlock. Okay, so unlock. Remove the 3 screws to unlock the hotbed. Okay, so once again, there's 3 arrows, 2 at the front on either side of the hotbed, and 1 right next to the screw rod. Using the same Allen key that we've used so far, use the same one. This is to obviously stop the hotbed in transit. So get rid of some of this inside. Now there's some, you'll see that there's some foam at the bottom of the bed. You will not be able to remove that in this process. You'll need to go into bed level calibration to actually allow to remove that. The bed will rise and allow you to take that out. So don't try and force it out. It's not due to come out yet. I noticed on the build plate in there that it actually says about the glue stick, so warning users must use the glue stick to apply adhesive to the build surface before first print, otherwise the print may not adhere or may adhere too strongly to the fresh build plate and cause damage to the plate when disassembling. I know anyone who's used 3D printers has either had the experience of using glue sticks for the opposite reason, which was to actually help it to adhere to the plate, but this is to actually help it to be able to remove it once you've used it, and basically it does such a good job in the adhesion that the glue stick will actually help you remove your print. A lot of people are going over to PEI sheets, but I've also heard, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments section, but I've heard that the LiDAR doesn't work with PEI sheets. Like I say, I have no clue as to whether that's the case or not. This type of technology in 3D printing is all very new to me. But yeah, it'll be worth knowing that, because obviously a lot of people have suggested using PEI sheets. Obviously it would save having to make sure that you put glue on every time. Okay, so we have removed those 3 bolts. So quite clear, little arrows everywhere. Remove them if you choose. Don't think they hurt much in there, to be honest with you. So that will allow the bed to come up now when we go to the next step. So the next step now is to attach the screen. So on the front, you'll notice some sticky tape. Carefully remove that. You don't want to damage the cord. Hold the actual connection in one hand and remove the tape in another. If you pull on that, you could likely do some damage, and you don't want to do that. Okay, so now you'll see that the screen is free, or the connection. Inside, you'll see the connection is to push into that slot there, and that's what we're going to do now. So quick note, the SD card always goes on the right hand side. That helps you gauge which way to actually push that in rather than trying to force in. So like I say, right hand side to the right in, always remember it's at the lower right hand corner. That helps with connecting this. It's just a push fit. It just connects up like so, and you'll hear a click. And then on the actual screen housing, you've got 4 little nodules. They slot into here, and then you slide it to the left, locks into place. Nice little touch screen. That's the angles that you can run by. So it's flat fascia, or you can have a slight angle if you like to work downwards, which depending on where you have it, if you have it at waist height, then it really just depends on what location you want. I quite like the idea of that. Okay, so we've did that. Okay, so now we are going to assemble the AMS unit, which we set aside earlier on in the video. So what we want to do is shut this door nice and carefully. You'll notice on the door there's some rubber seal around the edges, so that's great. That keeps it nice and sealed. Love the finish on that. Let's take out a bit of foam that I missed out earlier on in the video. On top, you do have on the filling head some cardboard. Now, don't force it, just it tears off a couple of bits of cardboard around the actual head itself. Just take that off, put that in the bin. There's also some foam in the poop chute, as everyone seems to call it. There must be some better names for it. I'm going to come up with a name. A lot of people are naming their printers. I'll probably do that in the future and add some decals to it. Quite like the idea of that. Never really named any of my 3D printers, but the technology and the amount of money I've spent on this, I think it might warrant it. So what we're going to do now is set up the AMS unit. So what we need to do is, as that's mainly from the back, carefully move that round, and we're going to work at the back of the printer. Okay, so we're going to get our AMS unit from the floor. And we also need the glass lid. Once again, take care with that. It's not on a latch. The actual glass knob at the front sits nicely into the groove and just slots in like so. Your AMS unit sits on top of that, which is here. So the AMS unit's actually surprisingly light. It's just made of plastic, I guess. So what we're going to do is have a bit of fun with removing the plastic. The plastic goes all the way around. Make sure you get it all off. Get rid of that. And one across the front. Okay, back to the instructions manual. So as you'll see here, you have a 550mm PTFE tube, which is on the actual AMS unit. So let's remove that, get rid of anything on it. So the 550mm PTFE tube will push into the side of the printer, just on the left hand side. It's just a push fit, so you just push that in like so, and that's in secure. Just give it a little tug, make sure both sides are okay. Okay, so that's already connected. This is where we get the cables. Okay, so the 6-pin, which is here, so on both sides it's 6-pin, goes into the AMS unit. On the AMS unit you will notice that there's two slots for that. Now that's to add subsequent AMS units, so you could go up to, I believe, 16 colours. So this is a 4 colour. I'll probably do that in the future, go up to 8 and then build up. You can't get it wrong, the actual clip fits upwards and then just clicks into place. And with the 6-pin, it actually fits on the left hand side. Once again, can't get this wrong because it is unique to that slot. Just fits in like so. And then we have the 4-pin. Once again, 4-pin on both sides, which is great. And that fits in from the Bambu Lab machine, which is just there, and into the bottom of this part here. So once again, let's just fit that in like so. Just clicks in nice and easy. Everything about this actually is really simplistic for the quality, the build quality, and the actual packaging. Really impressed about how they've taken the time to make it user friendly and make it delivery friendly as well, which is always really important. Now you can remove this screw on here, so there's a little label here that says spool holder assembly holes. So there's one hole that's already empty for you to be able to use, and you have those in the actual bag, and you can remove this. But because I'm using the AMS unit, I'm not going to add the spool holder right now. You can do if you want to, there's no reason why not. It's totally your choice. That's mainly really if you've not purchased the AMS unit. So now what we're going to do is we're going to have a look inside of the AMS unit as it stands. Okay, so we're now looking at the AMS unit, and you will notice inside, so you lift up the lid, you've got two little clips that hold the lid in place, which I really like. You've got a rubber seal for the lid, so any filaments that are left in there shouldn't absorb moisture, which is always good. So what they have done is they've put two little filters on either side. So if you, on the actual packaging, you'll notice there's remove the plastic bag for the desiccant before use. So always make sure you've done that. So inside, just pull the clip forward. You have the desiccant. So like it said, remove that and put it back into the slot like so, and replace the filter part, and it just clips into place. So here is a spare PTFE tube. You don't need to connect this up, it's literally just a spare, which is always good to have. One thing I've noticed with the Bambu Lab is there's lots of spare parts, which when you're spending this sort of money on any 3D printer, it's always a good thing to have some spares. I do like the fact that they've done that. They seem to have thought about all of the smaller things, you know, the things that potentially could hold you up, like a spare nozzle, a spare build plate, and some things like this, and spare tubing, you know. Those sort of things potentially could hold you up from doing printing on it, and the frustration that is led behind all that. So let's seal that up. Okay, so it's a bit fiddly at first. Like I say, clicks in place, so that's always good. Okay, so the next step. Place at least one spool of bamboo filament into the AMS and turn on the power to start the printer and the AMS. Insert the filament into the filament inlet. The filament will automatically preload when detected. So each of these have got a filament detection, which I like. Okay, so let's put this all in place. So what I'm going to do now is I'm not going to use the support filament, and I'll just put the orange PLA. I do have my own, but let's just use what's supplied for the time being. And we're going to print the Benchy, which comes with it. Let's just cut that open. So, and some more desiccant in there. Okay, so before we do that and connect it up, let's plug it in. So around the back you'll find the power cord, and that just plugs in around here, and there's an on-off switch as well, which is always good. And always make sure you have plenty of cables, which isn't always the case in my house. There we go. Okay, so let's move the camera to a better angle. Okay, so I've plugged in the power cable. I've got my spool. So let's just go back to the paperwork. So we're going to turn on the power. We're going to do exactly what it says. So you'll hear the AMS unit kick in and the screen's on, which is great. You've got the Bambu logo popping up on the screen. So what you'll notice is it requests you to select your language. In my case, it's English. And then it's going to request a 2.4G network. So I'm going to select mine and enter my password. Okay, so I've entered my password, and then it ticks to say that it's accepted it, and then you're going to click next on the screen. Take you to the next one. So scan a QR code to log into the printer. So this is where you're going to need to scan the handy app that you get. So we're going to do that quickly. Okay, so it's picked up everything now, and we're going to join. So the first thing it's saying to do, the printer needs to do a calibrate for the current environment. Please ensure the hotbed is unlocked before starting your calibration. So we know we removed all of those, but before we start that, let's connect up the filament up the top into the AMS unit. So let's take that. So each of these filaments supplied by Bambu actually comes with a scan inside, so it picks it up, the details of each filament, so that helps obviously with the programming, so that's why we want to use that today. It just fits in nicely like so on some rollers, and then you just feed it in through the top. There's like a button there, just press that. Okay, so the AMS unit has accepted the filament, so what it's going to do is push it into the actual nozzle and do some calibration. Once it's done that, it's worked out exactly where it needs to be. And then we can shut this up right now because we don't need that open. So like I say, on top there's two little latches, just make sure they're put in place. It always helps to keep that sealed. And then inside is where we're going to do the calibration. So let's get some light on this. So the next step is to calibrate. What we're going to do is open up the door, and then we're going to grab some of this foam in around the edges. I've got some that I could probably have access to. On the screen, just press calibrate, and that should start lifting. So at the moment, the actual main tool head is moving out, so that's doing a vibration test. So as you can see, the bed's now rising. This is where you can get rid of any sort of foam that you couldn't get hold of to begin with. Set that aside. And it's just going to perform a number of different calibration features. So it's running through like a sweeping XY mode, so it's just doing like a vibration test. So this will just pick up any vibration, and it will accumulate like a program that in the firmware it's quite loud, quite a bit of vibration there, but that just helps with the print in the end. It's about 60% now. So each of the build plates actually reference what type of filament it's capable of using. So currently the build plate I've got on there is PLA, PETG and ABS, so it's pretty much the main ones that I'm going to be using for now. So we're about 72%, 73%. So right now it's just, like I say, about 86% into the calibration. Once again, still providing some vibrations. Very loud. Okay, so that's now calibrated, so we're at 100% now. It's asking me to go to the next step, so let's do that. So your initialization was complete. Please ensure that the hotbed foam has been removed and the desiccant also. Just give it a double check in there, and yep, I'm happy with that. And then we're going to start some printing. Okay, so what we want to double check is everything on the screen is available and we don't need to do any. Okay, I was expecting that, to be fair. A new firmware update has been detected. Would you like to go to the update page? Yes. Let's update on the Bambu Lab X1 Carbon and on AMS, so new firmwares are available. Click update and update your system. Might as well start from fresh and get any bugs that might have been there. I believe a new screen layout as well, so we'll come back and once that's fully downloaded. And while that's updating, I've applied a thin layer of the glue stick onto the build plate while it's updating the firmware. Like I say, it was suggested to do that. This will help with the removal of the print at the end of the print cycle. So while that's updating the firmware, you might as well do that. About 96. Oh, okay. Just as I was about to say, it's at 96%. The firmware is updated. So let's see what it's done. So like I say, I've updated the added a thin layer of glue to that, and the firmware, so it will just give you an update to say that firmware has been updated for both the AMS unit and the carbon machine itself. So what we now want to do is a print. So just going through the home screen really. So on here you have the home screen, you have the option to turn on the light. So at the moment the light was on and now it's back on again, sorry. Your internet signal, your current temperature of the chamber, the build plate temperature, and the nozzle, the plate and the chamber temperature, so that's always good. What else have we got? Going to the next screen, so this is an overall, so you can lower down your, so basically it's just going to move the head to the beginning like so. It's just doing a check. And that's it. Okay, so like I say, the temperature, it just gives you an overall temperature again, your AMS unit. So currently it knows that I have the orange Bambu PLA. If you're using a generic PLA, you would have to automatically put that in yourself. You just add that in and it won't recognize it because obviously, like I say, it's got a code on there that it reads. The next page is a calibration if you want to do a calibration. And then you've got some options such as spaghetti and excess shoot pile up detection and first layer inspection, so you want to keep them checked. In the folder you also have a number of different internal memory files, so I quite like that. So we are going to print a Benchy today just to get an idea of how this is looking. But like I say, it gives you a number of different things that you can print, which is always good option, because it used to be an OWL or a Benchy. So you've got your account details, your network setup, etc., and then any messages. So if you've start a self-test, the self-test program diagnoses your device for a series of inspections and then that can be reported. So what we're going to do now is carry out a Benchy, and we'll do that right now. Okay, so what we're going to do now is print a Benchy. So click on the screen. It gives you a picture version of it, which I really like. It tells me that it's going to take about 24 minutes and it's going to use 11.7 grams of the filament that we've attached. You have a number of selections that you can, so we're going to be using the AMS, but if you wasn't and you was using it from the rear, you could uncheck that. Bed leveling and flow calibration, because this is the first time you're using it, always use that to do your first few prints, especially with a new printer, and that's what we're going to do. So let's click print now, and it will take us through a sequence of prepared items that it's going to work through. So right now it's going to do the heat bed, so that's preheating the heat bed. And it just hones everything. Love the actual design of the head itself with the glow feature of the Bambu Lab. Let's lower this down so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so right now brings it forward. So we're about 17%, so it's going to start carrying out the AMS feed of the filament. And then through the nozzle you'll get some filament coming through down to the back and start feeding through. And the nozzle's at 220 degrees at the moment, the bed's at 35 and the chamber is about 20. And it's just purging out, as you can see, around the back. Goes down to a little chute and is discharged down the back of the printer. And once that's done, the head will move along and clean the nozzle. And you'll just hear that click. That's just basically cut the end of the nozzle, filament off, and just cleans the nozzle head before it starts printing. So that's the second step of preparing to print. It's raising the bed now to do the auto bed leveling. So overall, so far, I feel like the build for the X1 Carbon Bambu Lab has been absolutely simplistic. You know, a lot of the time is spent on removing a lot of the screws and bolts and stuff like that to make sure that the printer stays secure in transit. I think that you can't really quantify that into your build time. The build time for me was around about 15 minutes, and now we're already printing with no sort of bed leveling, manual bed leveling. It's all completely automatic. The digital screen or the display gives you an up-to-date recording of what is happening on the actual printer itself. So right now it's going to start doing the auto bed leveling. So right now it's doing a vibration test. So it's going to check every part of the bed now. And anyone who's used automatic bed leveling will know that this tends to be quite a slow and tedious part of the actual thing, but it's quite important. But I feel like this is quite speedy, really. And every so on it do a vibration test per part. Like I say, each level is carrying out the vibration alert. Okay, so it's carried out the bed level on that part, so now we're going to do a sweep in XY mode, so it's going to do the vibration test again. Okay, so now it's doing a layer of filament, as you can see. And then that's going to use the LiDAR to check the flow calibration and stuff like that, which is great. the LiDAR should kick in any moment now. You can do this before every print if you choose, but obviously the bigger the print, if it uses up a lot of the bed, you won't be able to do this, but it does help. So the LiDAR should kick in right now. I'm just going to turn off some of these lights so that you can see that. Okay, so it's carried out that LiDAR, and just do a final check before going to clean the nozzle. And like I say, we're going to be printing a Benchy. So it's just priming the nozzle, and here we go. So super fast. You can check the settings as you're printing. So right now it's carrying out a first layer inspection. So it's just going to prime the nozzle, check that out, and it'll give any warnings as to whether it's happy or not. And it seems quite happy with that. We'll continue to print. And that's starting the first proper layer. So the inspections have all been carried out now, and it reckons about a 17-minute print. So it was obviously 22 minutes, but that was part of the inspection time. So on here you've got a display, you've got pause, stop, and then it tells you which one we're printing from. The nozzle's 219 at the moment, and we've got the light on. It's 35-degree bed. I'm not used to printing at 35 degrees on a bed, I'm normally about 60, so this is quite a surprise. We're probably already on about the fourth layer already, which is absolutely amazing. As you can see, it's rocking the machine quite violently. So even with the fact that the printer's wobbling so violently, the print's still coming out absolutely amazing. These speeds are just absolutely insane. So what we're going to do is let it print and then come back to it in about 15 minutes. Okay, so we're about 88%, so we've got about 2 minutes left to go on this print. It has taken a total of 15 minutes so far, and a 17-minute print of a Benchy, which is absolutely insane. So this is in ludicrous mode, already pre-sliced onto the firmware, so make sure you don't change the speed for your slicer app, or your Bambu app, sorry. That will likely do some damage to the actual printer, so just watch this print and go with it. So let's open up this door. We're right near the top now. And the quality looks great just from first initial looks through the door. I think anyone who's used the Benchy to print as a calibration would know that if you did that in 17 minutes on a normal printer, most likely wouldn't work again, and it wouldn't look that great. So I like the fact that the screen also times out when you've not touched it for a period of time. One thing I've always had a bit of a complaint with some of the printers I've got is that the screen stays on all night. I think it's needless energy. If all printers had that sort of option, that would be great. So we've got about a minute left on a 94% print. So it's just doing the roof, and it'll probably go over to the funnel, and that should be relatively quick. And yeah, it's staying on the funnel now, so we're pretty much nearly there. And then you'll see the head move to the back and the bed lower. I think we're pretty much completed, and there we are. So we have printed a Benchy in less than 17 minutes. Total time was about 23 minutes, but that was 5 minutes worth of calibrating. Definitely do that before each print. And on the display screen, it will come up and say that the print has been completed. So it's retracting the filament back into the AMS unit, which I like the idea of that, especially if you've got 4 different spools and you want to choose something the next day, like you're doing multiple colour prints. So it does a nozzle clean, and so far it shows a report, 24 minutes in total, 11.7 grams Benchy. You can click a report and you can scan the QR code, and that QR code with a handy app, see the possible causes, solutions and problems, so that can give you like a detailed overview of the print. So I think that's a great touch. So what we're going to do now, it come off the surface really easily. Like I say, I use glue on that, make sure you use glue each time. And this is the quality of the print, absolutely fantastic I think, especially at the speed that we're looking at. The quality of that, you'll see that there's some different coloration there, but I actually lowered the speed just to see a bit more detail around that. But overall, the print quality of something of that speed is truly fantastic, and a great addition to anyone who enjoys 3D printing. This might revolutionise the 3D printing world, and hopefully raise the bar for other 3D printing companies to come out with their own designs and challenge Bambu to the boundaries that they've reached. So anyone who hasn't subscribed to my channel, like and subscribe. I'm 3DP UK and I'm Phil. I'll bring you live unboxings, a very raw version of it. Yeah, and take care everyone. Phil from 3DP UK.